I was, yes.
Kari Lake, speaking at a Turning Point event, declared the start of a golden era under Donald Trump's leadership, crediting grassroots efforts for his return. She vowed to fight obstructionists, ensure election integrity, and dismantle the two-tier justice system. Lake criticized fake news media and urged supporters to counter misinformation while embracing alternative platforms. Announcing plans to join Trump's administration, she promised to champion truth and push back against biased narratives. Lake encouraged the younger generation to stay active, calling them pivotal to America's future.
And even though some of you are way far back there, I recognize the faces in this crowd. The people who knocked on doors, the people who went out and handed out campaign flyers for me and other campaigns across the country, the people who put on miles and miles of walking to help President Trump get over the finish line. This is your victory. Thank you for bringing President Trump back into the White House. I love that this is going to be called the Golden Age, because it really is. And when you think about it, it started about a decade ago when many of you were maybe 10 years old, maybe in 4th or 5th grade. And now you're going to be reaping the benefits of the Golden Age. But it started when a man with golden hair came down a golden escalator. How many of you remember that? In the summer of 2015. And now it's culminated to what we've been waiting for all of this time. It's culminated into we will no longer see a two-tier justice system anymore in America under the golden era. We will no longer see a weaponized government going after we the people in the golden era. And we will no longer see open borders in the golden era. I think you're all happy about that. And you think about what President Trump has accomplished. He has literally brought down all of the obstructionists. He brought down the fake news media. He revealed what they're all about. He brought down the obstructionists in Washington, D.C. Now, the bad news is we still have a few obstructionists. Have we seen that in the last week or so? And unfortunately, some of them are right here in our own party. And I hate to say that. I wish we could say all of the trouble was over with the Democrats, but we've seen how a few people with R's behind their name are trying to actually hurt we the people as we go into this next era where America First policies are going to be implemented to make our life better once again. And we need to bring down those obstructionists and help President Trump. Are you up for that? I think about what has happened in just the last week, how much has been revealed in the last week in Washington, D.C. Did you guys vote because you want President Trump's America First policies to be brought forth in this country? Is that what you voted for? Did you vote to make America great again? Okay, I thought so. So we need to make sure that those obstructionists, whether they have a D behind their name or an R, are not going to stomp we the people, because President Trump is giving we the people back our government, and we're not going to let them stop him, right? I think back to when I was running for governor, and one of the weak people that I ran against was interviewed many months after that race. And I'm going to read the quote. He said, "Opposing Kari Lake is a suicide mission. She doesn't run to win, she runs to destroy." And, well, we got to win because they're trying to destroy our country. So we've got to win no matter what. And that means when President Trump is going there to implement his policies, we must destroy any person who is trying to stop those policies from making their way into our lives. Are you up for that? Good. And when I say destroy, I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about with our strong voice and our vote. We proved that in this election. We made it too big to rig for President Trump. We proved that. We saw it this week when many of you got on the phone and started calling your lawmakers and your congressmen and said, "What the hell is going on? What are you thinking?" We need to use the same energy that we've used for the last couple of years to make sure that in the next 4 years, we make America great again. Okay? I think about how we want to take a little bit of time off, right? It's tempting because we work so hard. How many of you, just a show of hand, knocked doors, got involved, chased ballots? Let me see a show of hands. Keep them up. You guys are heroes. You guys are heroes. And I want to see you take that same energy that you did when you in Arizona went out in 115-degree heat and knocked on 500 doors in one weekend, and I want to take that same energy. That's how we're going to defeat the obstructionists who are going to try to stop President Trump. Because the work is really just starting now. It's just starting now, and while we are here to celebrate this huge victory of President Trump getting into the White House, we have to realize that the work is just beginning, and he can't do it alone. It's going to take him with his muscle, and that's all of you, to make sure that we truly make America great again. I know you're up for it. I used to say this on the campaign trail, and I meant it. I'm so impressed by this young generation of patriots. My kids are in this generation. And I would say to people, you got to get involved, because your generation has the most to win, the most to gain, or the most to lose. If we weren't successful, then your generation would be, as Ronald Reagan said, plunged into 1,000 years of darkness. But because we were successful, we actually have an opportunity to see the golden age, peace and prosperity for the rest of your lives. And so I thank you for all that you've done. This generation impresses the heck out of me. It really does. But we need to make a promise to President Trump right now that the energy that we put in to helping him and fighting for him to get him back in the White House, that will never stop and will never succumb to the left again and their absolute horrible ideology that has put us into the situation we're in right now. Can you make that promise to President Trump that you will get out there and stay involved in his presidency and in this administration, whether it's volunteering, getting involved, or working for the administration? Are you guys up for that? That's awesome. You know, we watched as President Trump has revealed so much to us about the truths about how corrupt Washington, D.C. is. I actually enjoyed his efforts when he was taking down the fake news. I mean, he's the one who first showed us how much lying was happening in the fake news, so much so that I decided I'm getting out of the fake news. And I'm going to be honest, I'm an optimist. I actually had a thought that maybe the fake news would reform themselves after what they've done the past 10 years, lying about President Trump, committing character assassination against President Trump, and frankly, other people who are fighting for our country. I actually thought that with this victory, they might come to their senses and wake up and reform themselves. But I don't think they're going to do that. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because as Elon Musk says, we are the news now. You are the news, not the fake news. And we've had some great people take the stage, people like Charlie Kirk, people like Benny Johnson. We've had some great people who have incredible podcasts, and their podcasts in one day will have more viewership than the entirety of the fake news in one day. That's how powerful this movement is. The fake news has become, the mainstream media has just become obsolete. But I did think of one thing that they're good for. I know, I'm hearing a gasp in the audience. What? Yes, they're good for one thing. If you see the fake news attacking someone, what you should do is say, I got to support that person, right? When they attacked President Trump, relentlessly lying about him, it only made people want to support him more and more. When they attack great fighters like Eli Crane here in Arizona, that just makes me want to support him more and more. And I've always said, whoever the fake news is the loudest and attacking the most, that's who we need to get behind. So they're good for telling us really who the good guys are. The fake news is good for telling us who the good guys are. So keep that in mind if you do ever find yourself watching them. There's so much history that's going to be made in the next 4 years. Can you even, do you lay awake at night just so excited about what is coming in the next 4 years? I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one. It's funny because I used to lay awake at night, wake up at 3 a.m. and worry about, where this world is going. And while an election didn't immediately take away all the problems, we know that the solutions are coming. And we know that things are going to get better. We know that Tom Homan, who's going to be speaking in the next couple of days, is going to get busy deporting people who come here illegally and freeing up this country so that we, the people, can take our country back. And I'm excited about that. I know you are as well. And we're going to have to watch it because the fake news is going to try to make that look like the worst thing in the world. We will watch as we create millions of homecomings around the globe. We're sending people back to their homeland, and we're going to be freeing up our country for the citizens of this country. But we got to make sure that they don't spin it. You know they're going to try to spin it, and they're going to try to make it look like the worst thing in the world. I see it as human beings heading back to their homeland. They will go there and make their homeland better, and we will make our homeland better. And so I'm excited for people like Tom Homan. And we're going to have to push back when the fake news tries to take everything President Trump is going to try to do to make our country great, and they're going to try to spin it in the opposite way. That's when we have to stand up and be that voice and be the media and get out on social media and push back against that narrative. Because that narrative is a false narrative. We know the truth. That truth is President Trump will make America great again. So as I get ready to wrap this up, and I guess I'm going to do questions. I've never done questions at a Turning Point event. This could be dangerous. I want to let you know that I'm looking forward to going and joining the President Trump in D.C. and the Trump administration. I'm honored. Isn't it crazy how they're already trying to bring down everybody President Trump is appointing? Did they do this with Joe Biden? When he had a cross-dressing kleptomaniac who stole luggage at the airport in charge of our nuclear waste, I didn't hear any complaining, really, from Congress and from Washington, D.C. and the media. I didn't hear any complaining, but now when he's putting out true patriots who want to help make America great, the media is going berserk. And that tells you that he's really putting out some great fighters who are not in it for themselves, they're in it for America. So I'm looking forward to it. Because where I am going, we're going to make sure that the American story is told in an accurate and fair manner. We're going to get back to real journalism, describing what's happening as we make history for the next 4 years in the President Trump administration. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to joining you and this incredible young generation that I admire so much in making America great again with President Trump. So I thank you so much. And let's do some questions, guys. Any questions out there? Right here. Are you the first one, Heather?
How does she know Heather?
Can we get a microphone for her? Anybody? Or are I'm sorry. I didn't follow the first rule, which is the questions are back there.
Come on.
Do you want to have her ask a question while we wait for Heather?
Okay, I want to say my name is Judy Cervantes. I'm here because of my nieces and my nephew. But we want to ask you, are you running for governor again?
Oh my gosh. You know what, guys? I am going to go help President Trump in Washington, D.C. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help President Trump. That's where I want to do as much as I can to make sure that we get this country turned around. So thank you for the question, Heather.
All right. So, one thing I love about you, Kari, is, so many people run for office, but you ran beyond Election Day and you fought in the courts when they stole the election from you. And I believe they did it twice. So my question is what do we have to do to restore election integrity in Arizona? Because if election integrity is a state issue, how can the Trump administration, now that we have the federal government, impact election integrity on a state level?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, we're not where we need to be on elections. And that's one of the reasons I don't want to run again, to be honest. Why put yourself through that torture again? We know the movement that we have in Arizona. If you live in Arizona, you get what's going on, and we're not there yet. Thankfully, President Trump's victory, it was too big to rig. It was too big to rig. I have not given up on election integrity. I want you all to know that. I haven't. But it's really, really hard to fight for election integrity when you've got corruption that is so deep as it is in Arizona. We know that our elections have not been run properly, and there's massive corruption there, and there's massive corruption in the court system. And and nobody can say I did not work hard to push for big changes in elections. What I think we need to do is make sure that we don't stop. And we keep telling our local and our state lawmakers this is priority number one. And we don't want just some fake election integrity. We want real election reform. We got to stay on these Arizona lawmakers to get real election reform. And then I'm counting on President Trump to live up to his promise to get to the bottom of election fraud, and I believe he will. And I'm counting on, actually, the federal government, when it comes to federal races, demanding accountability, transparency, and something closer to election day, paper ballots, no machines. Right? Especially when it comes to federal races, so they can call the shots on federal races, and then we'll make sure that those federal races are run well. And hopefully, when there's a federal candidate on the ballot, that means everybody will benefit from those kind of reforms. We got a cowboy over here. Hello.
Hi, Miss Kari Lake. I met you back at America Fest 2021, and you actually approached me. And so I wanted to say I love your character. You love to. I remember. Were you running for governor back then, or when did you start running?
That must have been way back on my very first Turning Point event.
Yes.
I remember it was during COVID, so they had to have just a few people in the room, right? And you must have been like this big.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think I had announced that I was running for governor. I was mulling it over at the time.
Yes, I remember that.
I'm so glad to see that you are a patriot and involved, and thank you. I mean, really, this generation, I am so impressed with this young generation.
I actually do have your signature on this hat as well from all the way back then.
I missed what you just said.
I have your signature on my hat from all the way back then, too.
Oh, my gosh. I love it.
But I just wanted to say, at what age did you feel God's calling to do what you are doing now? Like, what age, like, way back when did you feel that?
To get into politics?
Just becoming a leader.
Oh, well, I've always felt God's calling, that God had made me to be special, just like he made each and every one of us to be special. But it was really during COVID that I had a huge wake-up call, and I realized we have to do more. We can't sit silent. As painful as it is to be canceled and have the media attack you, and to, just what we've all been going through since then, if we don't stand up and step into that thing that we're afraid of, whether it was getting called out, being canceled, running for office, if we don't stand out and step into our fear, we'll never overcome our fear, and we'll never save our country. So I think for a lot of people, COVID was a big wake-up call. That's when I felt God urging me and pushing me into a different direction in my life. And it has not been easy, but I would not change a thing. And if I'm out of time now, but if the powers that be, the corrupt powers that be, think that I'm going away, I'm going to disappear because of the hijinks they've been up to, I'm never going away. I'm never going away. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting for America. We're going to keep fighting for Arizona. We're going to keep fighting for this young generation. And together we're going to save America and save the world. God bless you, Turning Point. Thank you, Charlie and Tyler. And I love all of you very much. Thank you so much.
I want this.